Hey, welcome to the end of Album April 2024. It's April 30th, and today I listened to Loveless by My Bloody Valentine. To begin with, I had never heard of this band before looking for albums to listen to. The only My Bloody Valentine I knew of was the Machine Gun Kelly song and, the horror movie. The term production hell or development hell is often used to describe things like movies or video games that had several points in its production or development that caused things to get delayed. Overall, they take so much longer to make than they would need to otherwise. There's a difference between development hell and something that just would take a long time to make. Loveless by My Bloody Valentine is the first example I've found of an album that absolutely went through development hell. The first part of recording was in September of 1989, and the last part of recording wasn't until the summer of 1991. And throughout the recording process, they went through 19 different studios. And not to mention that even though My Bloody Valentine was marketed as a band with 4 members, most of this album was just made by one of them, Kevin Shields. And I thought Parallel Lines sounded like a nightmare to create. That was nothing compared to Loveless. However, all that time and energy and money did pay off in the end, because nowadays Loveless is considered to be one of the best albums of the 90s. At least by music snobs who write for magazines. What did I think about it? Okay, let me just put it this way. I don't think I've ever understood so clearly why the Grammy has separate awards for Best Song and Best Recording. Because I think that Loveless is filled with a lot of good songs, but the recording is absolutely horrific. And it wasn't just because of the rough production, like the limited amount of resources and not being in studios they liked. It was also artistic choices in the producing that I didn't like. One thing I never talked about during this album April is the fact that I discovered at the very beginning that the microphone I usually use, the cord that would attach it to my computer, broke and I couldn't use it. So I've actually just been using the microphone in my laptop this whole time, and I've been worried every day that people are going to notice how terrible the audio quality is. But I shouldn't have been worried, because apparently bad audio is a stylistic choice, and they made it for Loveless. When I was listening to this album, I was wondering if the producer just had no idea what they were doing when it came to sound mixing, because I could barely ever hear any of the vocals. The most prominent sound in every single song is this loud, distorted guitar feedback, and there's nothing in the way of a sort of pace or a rise and fall in the songs. They're just loud the whole time. But I did the smart thing and looked it up. And apparently, Loveless is seen as one of the best shoegazing albums of all time. And if you, like me, have no idea what that is, let me explain it. According to Wikipedia, and I'm quoting here, shoegaze is a subgenre of indie and alternative rock characterized by its ethereal mixture of obscured vocals, guitar distortion and effects, feedback, and overwhelming volume. So yes, none of those things I thought were mistakes were mistakes. I feel like I felt when I learned that, no, I wasn't actually having a weird reaction to it. C4 energy drinks are supposed to be drank pre-workout so you can feel like you're getting attacked by pins and needles. So yeah, most of my issues with the way that these songs sound can boil down to a matter of style. And even though I don't get this style at all, there are still some songs in it I can appreciate. There were 3 songs on Loveless I thought were decent. Only Shallow, I Only Said, and Soon, I all thought were pretty good songs. Those were the songs that sort of took this subgenre and made it into more of a wall of sound that I could appreciate. However, there are also songs that I just didn't like even slightly. For example, To Hear Knows When, and I have spent 40 seconds of my life I'll never be able to get back just looking at these 4 words, trying to figure out a way that they make sense, but I can't. That is probably the worst mix out of all of them, even for this genre that is made of what I would think is bad mixing. 75% of what I was hearing for most of this song was just guitar feedback, and I don't find that very pleasant to listen to. I was actually a little worried when I found out that Loveless was going to end up being the final song of this year's album, April, because that's one of those songs that I literally just saw while I was looking through albums to listen to. I never heard of the people who made it, and I just included it on a whim. I thought that this was going to be kind of a boring final episode, but actually, there was a lot to talk about with this album. Considering how many things got in the way of its production, it's kind of a miracle that this album even got made at all. And while overall this is absolutely not my genre at all, there were still some songs on it I could appreciate. And that draws a close to album April 2024. I'll be honest, I was debating whether or not to even do a third album April at all. I don't nearly have as much fun making this as I do Horror Nights, but I actually enjoyed this album April a lot more than the first two. I think part of it was that I stopped just looking at whatever Rolling Stone thinks good albums are and start looking for albums that I might enjoy myself, and also being a lot more casual and less rigid with the format, I think, was better. And now that it's over, I'm actually very comfortable with the idea of doing another one next year, but that's a while from now. And anyway, thank you all for listening. I'm probably going to be uploading a music cover at some point this week, but when it comes to like a video of me talking, that's not in the works for a while. So thank you all for listening. Bye.